Okay, good morning from America's
Morning.
Buzz. We got Mike and Derek here.
Hello,
Very
everyone.
very excited to talk about our reactions to last night's debate. Man,
Yep.
we were not expecting that, were we, Derek?
No, I think it was it seemed for the most part two adults in the room, contrary to the first debate. Unfortunately, the viewership was down, I think 21% from what I read from the first debate. So
From the first debate.
but luckily a lot of people did get to see Trump in a more professional manner, more calm and collected. So I thought he did amazingly well, especially considering what we saw out of him in the first one. And Biden, I thought, just quickly give my take. I thought for the first third, aside from the world's going to end and we're going into this dark winter and we're all going to die narrative and got to wear your mask and we're going to lock you down and just scare the crap out of everybody. I thought he did okay in the first third, energy wise. And in the second third, he went to sleep. I mean, he started stuttering. He was, constantly having to gather his thoughts. The last third, I
felt bad for the stuttering. Yeah.
Yeah. In the last third, I thought he picked it back up. And, aside from I think what cost him the debate entirely last night at the very end, I thought he did actually really well in the first third and the last third. But that middle third, good God, man, his campaign's got to just be like, we got to work on your meds, man. It goes through waves. So
yeah. Well, first credit where due, Kristen Welker. I mean, I didn't clock how many followers she had on the social media networks before this debate, but
right.
I would imagine that she had an enormous rise in popularity, because I think that is the service that we're looking for from journalists. And
right.
if you saw Chris Wallace's reaction to her, and he said, "Man, I'm jealous."
Right.
I thought to myself, you know what? That was available to you, sir. That level of thoughtful repartee was something that you could have made possible for these two candidates. And you have no one to blame but yourself for not providing that. And while Trump, to be fair, for Trump to make it fair, he really did have to fight through a couple of her wrap-ups, and really, but I thought he did it in a sweet demeanor.
Right.
We hadn't really seen from him. He wasn't combative. He was like, "Oh, no, but please could I just finish this point?" And I thought that the American public needed to see that he was, he wasn't mansplaining her. He was
exactly
this up. This is an important thing for people to know.
Right. So and I think, and somewhere in the first third of it, maybe, he even said, "Hey, by the way, you're doing a good job. Thank you, for this." So he actually complimented her in the middle of the debate, which I thought was a good tact also to do. I did find, I thought she did an excellent job, especially compared to Chris Wallace, for sure. I did think that there was, when she would interrupt him and cut him off a lot. And I think someone counted, I saw one number 25 times she cut him off, to one was 30. And then someone said, she cut Joe off like twice, as far as interrupting, to be like, "Oh, hold on." So, I did, when he was going to try to go down that Hunter laptop China thing, she would step in. And now I was under the impression that so I was under the impression, and a couple of them happened during his supposed, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted. I guess that was only for the candidates, not for her, because she did chime in a couple times. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, time out. I thought he's got 2 minutes uninterrupted to do his thing." So, but overall, again, I think what we saw in the first debate, we were all just cringing, hoping that wasn't going to happen here. I did think she held her own and did a really, really good job.
Well, I thought it was interesting that first of all, there were times where I thought Trump should have punched a little bit harder. Especially with these allegations coming out. And, you and I were texting back and forth trying to figure out, is he going to go there?
Right.
I thought his first opening was when they're talking about COVID and shutdown. And he said, I would love to just stay in my basement.
Right. You made a lot of money.
You're making a lot of money elsewhere.
Right.
And I thought that was a soft entry into it. And I thought that was a smart kind of way to blend in. And I thought, oh, go, keep pushing there, because these allegations really are damning. And I thought he played it just right to let people go look for themselves to identify, look, this guy is doing some international grifting that we need to look.
Yeah, and I think that, with Bobulinski, being investigated by the FBI, or not investigated, being questioned by the FBI this morning, as he came out yesterday right before the debate and gave an actual press conference where he read, some emails or read a statement saying that he was the CEO. He had meetings with Joe Biden, and on the partnership side of the China energy thing, and so for him to be actually being questioned this morning tells you there's something going on. Now, are they getting him in to silence him and keep him quiet, so now he can't go out and say anything, and making him sign some document that puts a gag order on him or something? I don't know. But I thought that Trump did a good job too of making Joe Biden be an absolutist, right? And by being an absolutist, he denied everything, right? He said the laptop stuff is not, basically it's a Russian hoax. Okay, well, if that's the case, then why do they subpoena it, and why do they have it now? Right. So the information that's coming off of there is way too personal. It has too many selfies of Hunter Biden, so they can't be doctored. So, I mean, the impossibility or the possibility of it being a fake and a Russian disinformation campaign is zero. It's zero. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but he got Biden to walk right into that.
Right. He never denied the veracity of the emails.
Nope.
We know that the FBI is already using this as evidence in a money laundering case. Right. That case has long been opened, apparently.
Right.
So for them to play defense like this, and I thought a combination of Trump releasing, of course, the Lesley Stahl interview earlier in the day onto his Facebook page, which was a really cool kind of behind the scenes look.
Yep.
People saying, "Oh, well, that can't be." They certainly didn't source to the degree that they are. This veracity. Introspection was not something they were pursuing at all when it came to BuzzFeed releasing all these dossier salacious allegations.
Right. They ran with it.
They must be really on a new tack here. But who's going to deny that this Hunter Biden laptop is real? You can't.
Apparently 60 Minutes and Lesley Stahl. Right. I mean, she's still like, what are you talking? It hasn't been verified. And then I saw I don't know, Christina Amanpour. Yeah, she was on with some Republican lady last night from the GOP or whatever, the RNC, and she was saying, "Oh, Fox News hasn't even verified this." Of course, sure they have. Fox News has verified it several times. I mean, Brett Baer even last night said, "For all those who don't think this is a story, sorry, it's now a story. We know the FBI has the laptop." So, I mean, CNN, obviously being a deep state, controlled by the CIA since probably the 80s and 90s, putting that stuff out there. I mean, they're just running Jake Tapper last night. I mean, God, what an embarrassment. I mean, it's just, they're running cover for him, trying to run out the clock before this stuff becomes information in the public sphere to where they're forced to cover it. And again, what I think they're doing is they're doing it long enough to get him elected to then replace him. Because all of a sudden what's going to happen after the election is they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, this is going to be too big of a story. We've got to get him out. So now let's put Kamala Harris in." So who gets sworn in on January 20th? Is it going to be Joe Biden, or is it going to be Kamala Harris if they win the election?
Well, that was Glenn Beck's initial reaction, right? Glenn Beck immediately said, "Well, who really gets the big gift here from this is the progressives, because now it doesn't look like they're taking over the Democratic Party. It looks like they're fighting corruption to depose Joe Biden and install Kamala, who they wanted in the first place."
Yeah.
And he's actually right to make that reaction, right? Because this then it no longer looks like, oh, look, AOC plus 15 took over the whole party. It was in fact them doing a bipartisan effort to erase sweeping corruption.
Yeah.
That could be how this plays out, Derek.
Well, and it could, what the other interesting point is we've learned yesterday is that Kamala Harris is part of this kind of gang of Biden, right? She was part of these senators, Amy Klobuchar, Feinstein, Kamala Harris, who's going to be brushed up into this. So they've got it. And I think now it makes more sense, because I was one saying there's no, well, I didn't say no way, but I said it's very unlikely he's going to pick Kamala Harris. She's the most liberal senator in the union, or in the Senate. She's got a horrible record as an AG in California, with locking up, people for petty marijuana possession charges and stuff.
Right.
And saying that she needed them for cheap labor. That was her response to the Supreme Court when they said, you have to let these people out. We need them for cheap labor for the wildfires. But now it makes more sense. If she's part of this whole, process, and she's in deep, of course she's going to cover it and sweep it under the rug. So now if Biden does win, it's absolutely going to be covered up. They'll bring in Susan Rice or Lynch again to be the AG, right? Get all of this brushed under the rug and get it out of the way. So if you're wanting the truth to come to light for any circumstance on what's going on with Biden, then if you elect him, obviously you're never going to find out about it, because the media is going to run cover. If the Democrats win the House or win the Senate, of course they're going to sweep it under the rug as well. I thought, too, if you look at the topics they talked about, the cages, right, with the locking the kids up in at the border, and Trump hammered on who built the cages, Joe. And he asked it a couple times, right? And I thought that was effective. Biden dodged and did as good a job as he could do on that topic, on the racism topic. How do you address what's been going on in the country? And I think that Trump did a really good job of really backing him into the corner on almost every topic that they discussed, by saying, Joe, you've been here for 47 years and you had 8 years to do prison reform, or you had 8 years to do whatever, and you didn't do it. And so, so whether it be the COVID-19 stuff, and again, we're going into the dark winter, so we're all going to die. So everybody buckle down and don't leave your basements.
It was not a hopeful message, was it?
No, it was not a hopeful message. And Trump was definitely, we got to open up the country, Joe. We can't shut down again. If we shut down, people are losing jobs. People are in the depression, the suicide.
And education. I think the education point was a key one. The fact that he was able to say, look, by the time we talked to the doctor, Barron was already recovered from having this virus. So, and I think for many folks that are dealing with homeschooling and virtual learning, that resonated with them. They said, okay, look, we clearly do not have the dangers to students or teachers that allow our schools to remain closed.
Yeah. And I think, suburban moms, obviously that's one of the big, as we're seeing in the polling, right? Suburban moms moved dramatically away from Trump. I think last week it was like 57-33 or something like that. Supposedly, as of yesterday, he's gained 8 points with suburban moms now. So if he closes that gap more and he brings down Biden below 50, so if he's gone from 57 to 49, let's say, that's a huge swing. And I do think that moms are now focused on the safety of their communities, obviously COVID-19 as well, but then their children and getting back to school. And, we all know Trump. We talked about this yesterday. Trump's not someone who comes in with facts and knows the numbers and he's just boom, boom, boom. But one thing he should have said is, for all the college students that have gone back to college, there's been 70-something, as of last week, there have been 77,000 tests done. There have been 28 hospitalizations out of it, right? And I mean, the positive cases are just minimum. So he was correct to say it's not affecting, children. He said at a low degree. Again, if he had known, like, dude, you have a 0.001 chance of dying if you're under the age of like 5, and then going up from there, that hammers home. So that's what a lot of people don't know, because all they do is they turn on CNN and MSNBC and have it beaten into their head that, yep, we're in a dark fall already. We're about to go into a really dark winter. If they just turn on and see, what's being pushed in front of them the whole time. Right.
Well, I thought when he talks about renewables in a very pejorative context,
right.
That doesn't sit perfectly well with me, because I know that what I know his point is that we cannot rely, as Germany has, on these renewables. And as we know, Germany has massive brownouts. They really are not able to provide the electricity they need to.
Right. Well, what's going on in California as well? Right. You guys are having rolling blackouts in California, the biggest state.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be using an electric car. The irony of them saying that we're all driving electric cars by 2035, but then also saying that we can't provide electricity. these
it's
things
just stupid.
don't suss out. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I thought he talked about that, and then I mean, like you said, I think the nail in the coffin for Biden was saying that we're going to move away entirely from oil. And while everybody wants to see us move to renewables and actual sustainable electrical options that we can rely on, I think saying that to the states of Ohio, to the states of Pennsylvania,
Texas,
Oklahoma, Texas, that fundamentally smarts when they say that it hurts from a standpoint of, look, we know that there's 15,000 jobs that rely on fracking, in Pennsylvania.
Well, and to your point, he tried to claim. Well, one, Biden got backed into a corner when Trump said, "You said it, Joe," and he goes, "Well, put it on your website or put it." And he said, "Okay." And within 10 minutes, the Trump campaign was out on Twitter, posting it. But I turned over and then what Biden tried to say was, "Oh, you took us out of context. I meant on federal lands." Well, in the West, federal lands make up 60 to 70% of all of the land that you can frack on. So if you're going to shut down fracking on federal land, then you're shutting down 60 to 70% of the available land to do it. But I turned over and watched the Young Turks yesterday with Cenk after the debate, the post debate, and he made a good point. He said that if you're pushing this narrative now to be on the oil industry side, and you're now saying, well, hey, Texans, pay attention to this. It's like, look, if we're down to where you've got to save Texans on the state of Texas for you on an electoral college map by pushing this oil thing, then you got other issues that you've got to be dealing with. And so I thought he did bring up a good point there, because if he's having to rely on Texas and Oklahoma to win, then he's battling so many different battles on so many different fronts. But
but we've seen this movie before, Derek.
Right.
Remember when Hillary said, "I will gladly shut down the coal industry."
Right. Yeah.
When she said that, of course the progressives, are celebrating in the streets, hands in the air, but that's not playing the game on a 50-state map.
Right.
And similarly, last night I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, he's going to kill the oil industry."
Right.
Amen. Hallelujah. But don't celebrate too soon, because that's exactly the hubris that we see from the progressive left.
Right.
We've
exactly.
seen this idea of, you're telling me you're going to completely change us to a Green New Deal economy? Amen. Well, that doesn't resonate with a lot of these folks that make their money from energy jobs, not, white collar jobs in our major cities.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's a double-sided coin as well, that progressives don't realize is if they move to the new Green New Deal, then energy prices go up dramatically across the board, because nobody, I mean, the effect that it has on the people at the poverty line or low middle class is the higher they don't have the money to go buy an electric car. Electric cars are, I mean, unless they bring them all the way down to where you're buying a beat up Sentra that's going to, for $3,500 that runs on gas, but now you can buy a beat up electric car that's still running for $3,500. Dude, that's years away. So the mom sitting around the table and the dad sitting around the table in Texas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Montana, North Dakota, where all this fracking is doing, and all of a sudden their energy is going to go up. They're going to need more than $15 an hour, right? Because that energy cost is going to eat half of that. So, I mean, it's just, it's one of those things that's a disconnect.
And socioeconomically, most folks are having longer commutes, right?
Correct. They're having to move further away.
Firefighters who work in Palo Alto commute from 2 hours east, right? So energy prices affect them from a job transportation standpoint, and it affects food prices.
Correct.
So increases in energy prices actually hurt the lowest end of the socioeconomic spectrum.
Way more.
I know we got to wrap up here, but I would say, just so we talked about specifics, but tonally, my tonal reaction to the debate was really strange, and I don't know if you had this feeling, but in this super divisive contest, I suddenly had this strange sense of calm. Not a sense of calm that was like, okay, yeah, Trump's got this, Trump's going to win. I had a sense of calm that it just felt like all of a sudden we were less divided. I don't know what it was.
Right.
It was almost like it felt to me as if we were back to a 1990s debate or something. And I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was. Did you have that same feeling? I felt like I didn't feel, this was of course before I was looking at people's reactions, but I really felt like, okay, like we're having policy discussion. And
again, it was not like the first debate where, one guy's calling the other guy a clown and a racist. Don't get me wrong. Biden did call him the biggest racist, right, in the country yesterday. So that was a little, but yes, tonally, I think that I think both, again, they for the most part acted as gentlemen, right, with regards to being able to just have a conversation back and forth. There wasn't screaming over each other. So I did think they did well. I think it plays to a couple data points this morning I saw was one from the Sacramento Bee, coming from California, obviously, that showed in 2016, Trump won the Latino vote in California at 12%. So he had an approval rating and 12% supported him in 2016.
Right.
As of, I think, yesterday, the day before, his support amongst Latinos now is at 33%. Yep. So if he can take California.
That's one of my questions for Juan Hidalgo later today, who's of course running in the 51st. I want to see if he's seeing that sentiment breaking on the ground.
Yeah.
Because we're here at SAC-B.
Yeah, because we're hearing that Latino support in southern Florida, right, where they had, by count at helicopter or whatever, just doing an estimate, 30,000 cars for Latinos for Trump last weekend. But then also, with also looking at Rasmussen reports this morning, he pointed out that and he does a daily thing. So National Daily Black Likely Voter Job Approval for the POTUS went from 25% on Monday of this week to 46% as of this morning. So if he won that debate last night or started shifting that narrative and pushing, and he gets to anywhere close to 46% of Black support, if they actually truly go into the polls and that follows through, and the gap of suburban women are closing that quickly, this race is over, my opinion.
Yeah.
So, again, we don't know if this is true, right? This is just a snap poll, but to go from 25 to 46% in a week, even if it's half that number, right? Even 25 to 35, that's impressive.
Yeah. So, it's got to be statistically significant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after this, we've got Jim DeBello coming up in a half hour, and then later today, about 3:15, we're gonna have Juan Hidalgo. Two of the other folks that I was running for Congress with and seeing on the trail during the primary, but they have prevailed and they will be on the ballot here November 3rd. So stay tuned for those. And Derek, you and I will have a lot more to catch up on as we find out the results of this Bobulinski interview.
Should be hearing more about that today. So everyone, thanks for following us and looking in. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, and our website as well, americasnewclothes.com.
America's New Clothes. All right. Ciao.
See you, man. Have a good one.